I was a militant atheist for a good chunk of my teenage years. I still am an atheist now because even though I would want to believe, I just can't. I mean, if I don't believe, it's not something that I have choice over. But I'm not a militant atheist. Militant as in, it was next to impossible to place me with a Christian in the same room. Because initially I would start a conversation about religion which would end up in arguments. Not a good place to be if it's a family dinner or if it's any type of environment that's supposed to focus more on harmony and playing video games rather than hear V use his screechy voice in order to demolish the other person with facts. And wash. But I really wonder, why did I dislike religion so much? And I think I can pinpoint it to the fact that I went to an evangelical school. And my personal experience with the evangelicals around me, so it's not the majority of them or anything like that, but the more pious they were, the more they were kind of a dick. I mean, let me give you the exact thing which made me really dislike them, was when a biology teacher that I really like, I mean, she was a very lovely lady and she had a way of teaching that you didn't really have to study when you get out home because you kind of remember the lesson from the classroom. She got fired because she taught evolution and she wasn't apologetic about it. Because other biology teachers that I had until then, when they reached the topic of evolution, they would mention, yeah, well, it's in the curriculum, I have to say it, but, God. And this one didn't, right? So one of the more connected students in my class, one that had very wealthy parents that would donate a lot of money to the school, and they would also hang around the same Bible study with the school principal. They lobbied for that teacher to get fired. And after she got fired, they said that, no, it's because my parents did it, and I'm really happy, and, God bless. And that really infuriated me. That really agitated me, because, at the end of the day, they ruined the life of a person. I don't know if that person managed to find employment after or not, but it was still a shitty thing to do. And, this is the same reason I started disliking social justice activists when I was left-leaning. It's I've been poor, I know how it's like to be poor, and getting people fired over frivolous shit and then celebrating makes you a complete and utter scum. Human garbage, like Anita Sarkeesian calls Sargon. Yeah, that's it. I personally, I think that was the moment when I snapped. And when I looked towards the internet, when I wanted to see other people who have beef with religion, and this is in a time when, Dungeons and Dragons creates Satanism, Harry Potter teaches you to craft magic spells, there were a lot of nonsense, which is the main reason that I had grievances with the ideology to begin with. And this made me find a lot of YouTubers like Thunderfoot, Amon Ra, and others that, would make arguments against creationism. Which at the time, by the way, creationism was this ideology that they were trying to push into schools in order to, explain away evolution. I guess contradict the evolutionary theory. But one of the most important people, I suppose, that were making arguments against this was Richard Dawkins. And at the time, both me and Richard Dawkins, we viewed religion as... I suppose irrational is the correct way of framing it. We just didn't understand why people believed, right? And even, the religious person would tell you that they have faith, right? It's not logical. It's not they have the evidence. It's no, they have faith that it's real. And we just didn't, I suppose. But what at the time we didn't expect and we didn't understand is that religion was the pillar stone of what makes values in our country. Now, if you read Thomas Sowell's book, he talks about a very interesting thing. There were two major power outages which happened in New York City, 10 years apart. First power outage happens, crime rate is actually lower than usual. Second power outage happens, the crime rate is a lot higher than usual. People went, rioted, and looted and whatnot. And the way Thomas Sowell explains it is that it has a lot to do with values. You see, you can have all the police in the world, the most police isn't capable of dealing with large-scale rioting because they don't have enough manpower to deal with it. They don't have enough resources. Most police is done in order to operate in a society that has values, and most people don't want to just commit crimes. Now, the way Thomas Sowell explains it is that the first time the value of the people was like stealing is wrong. The second time it happened was that people thought, well, communism was catching on and is private property really good and our business is not evil and they're profiting out of people. So, now, Richard Dawkins explains something similar about religion. He explains that besides the values, because most people know that stealing is wrong, but there are certain individuals that will say, yes, stealing is wrong, but I get something out of it. So while, yes, I'm doing something bad, I'm gaining something good for me and my family, so I want to do it even if it's bad. So the next question is going to be, will I get caught? Will I get caught? Can I do it without getting caught by the authorities? But there is another thing which should exist. And that thing is God is watching. It's almost like having a video camera onto a person 24/7. And maybe this is the way some people know how to behave. So the person can be like, I don't care if it's bad, I want to do it. I know I'm not going to get caught. And maybe he needs that third thing. It's oh shit, God is watching. If I do it, it's a sin. I'm going to have to answer in the afterlife. It's not okay to do it. So, yeah, Richard Dawkins came to this conclusion after he was now treated as persona non grata because he had negative views about Islam. And the main problem with this, for him, I guess, he's an atheist. Of course he's got negative views about Islam. Because, by the way, any person watching it that you're not a Muslim, you probably have negative views about it as well. Otherwise, you'd have fucking converted by now, wouldn't you? Why hadn't you converted if, you agree with everything, right? But he couldn't criticize it because of how, I guess, France likes to call it Islamo-leftism. The unholy alliance between progressives and their political correctness and Islamic values. So you can't really criticize them anymore, right? You can criticize Christianity, but you're not allowed to criticize Islam. And of course, Richard Dawkins was bothered by this. And apparently, he was told that he can't attend a speech. And only after he had an aneurysm, doctors consider that this might be because of the high level of stress that he endured. And obviously, you can't make the connection 100%. Maybe he would have had the stroke regardless. But what I do understand is that the people organizing the speech didn't really got bothered over the censorship, didn't really have the problem that maybe Dawkins has or doesn't have something important to say. For them, it was just bad PR. It's oh, well, we can't be seen and have the aneurysm tied to us of all things. Oh my God, what would people say then? So they re-invited him and he didn't attend. It was very awkward and honestly, it shouldn't have come to this. But now we got a Maoian style revolution, the Mao revolution style of awards being revoked. That is the dumbest shit that I have ever understood in my life. So if Dawkins would have passed away last year, he would have managed to keep the award, right? But because he survived the year, they take the award away from him. How the fuck does this work? I think even Time magazine didn't take away the award from Hitler. Why? Because awards don't function this way. People change. Yes, you can award someone for being the best chess champion in 2017, but you're not going to take the reward away because someone else won in 2018. By the way, Obama also got a Peace Prize, even though, he drone strike people like a boss, and no one complained about it then. Why? Because when he got the Peace Prize, he was actually clean. All he did is he went around the world saying, oh my God, America is so bad, America is so evil, America is so imperialist, we're so sorry. And then when he gets in power, he continues the same politics that his predecessors had. So, and by the way, I don't think they should take away the prize. I really don't think. I do think that he shouldn't have gotten the prize until he would have actually done something. The only reason he got the prize was because he got elected president, right? And the reason they took away the Humanist Award is bullshit to the core. Because what Richard Dawkins did is he sparked a conversation, which intersectionalists cannot answer. This is their kryptonite. They cannot answer the conversation, so they have to censor it. Because the idea is that if people can't hear it, then they're not going to think about it. So in order to protect the sanctity of intersectionality, they have to censor this conversation from taking place. But Richard Dawkins talks about a person by the name of Rachel Dolezal, who in 2015 was the president of NAACP. And she was vilified because she identified as black. Now, this is a woman born from white parents and she identified as black. And obviously that's totally not okay. I mean, the people at the time didn't like it. So Richard Dawkins goes on and says that some men choose to identify as women and some women choose to identify as men. You will be vilified if you deny that they are literally what they identify as. So he's talking about like, okay, why is it that people can't identify based on race, but they can identify based on gender? Because if you listen to the science, that's what I love to do. I listen to the science. They will ask you, it's like, how many sexes are there? And you go, it's like, okay, well, there's XX and XY. Ah, wrong. See, there's more than 2 sexes. Because you have what we like to call, I don't even know if it's the political correct term now, genetical abnormality. So you can have XXXY. The Turner syndrome, the Klinefelter syndrome, these are the people that do not fit into the 2 sexes description. So if there's more than 2 sexes, then why can't there be more than 2 genders, right? These are the people that call themselves gender abolitionists, right? Like the perfect world is where we don't have genders at all. So by having a multiple gender, like by having as many as possible, eventually they don't mean anything. If I'm not mistaken, like recently they say that people can identify based on places and specific historical events or something like that. Like there's a push for that. Like it's just to create nonsense, to abolish gender, right? And by abolishing gender, we now no longer have discrimination. There's no more sexism. So why can't we do the same with race then? Is like the logical follow-up question. But you're not allowed to ask this question because it's racist to ask it. Okay? Now, if you ask why isn't it sexist when you do it with gender, you're a turf. Okay? But if you ask it why, because like I can make the same argument, like what is race, right? Like race is based on ancestry. So what if like 10 generations ago I had a black family member? I mean, without him, I wouldn't exist. Yeah, so why can't I identify with him? Like what if like 4 generations ago I had a Greek grandmother? Can I identify as Greek even though I'm Romanian? And if the answer is yes, like what if 18 generations ago I had someone from Asia? Can I identify as Asian? Why not? Like, what is the difference? They don't want to have this conversation, obviously, right? So in order not to have the conversation, they want to punish people who even dare bring it up, like Richard Dawkins. And yeah, this is literally Mao-style revolution. Like in any way around the world, once you get a prize, you get the prize. They can't take away your prom queen award. Or maybe they can. I think they actually did. I think like one school took away the prom queen award. Probably also in the United States because people are getting crazy right now with making sure they censor everything, and it's like they change the system. I'm really surprised they don't come up with the year 0 concept like they did in the French Revolution. Or no, actually they did. The Great Reset. What the heck am I talking about? Yeah, no, the year 0 is coming as well. Under a different name though. But I'm really disturbed about, like, I don't get, man, like, even if you're a social justice activist, okay, even if you're like the most radical leftist, how does it not bother you that you have an ideology that doesn't allow dissent? Like, either someone believes 100% of the things that you do, or he's a bad person that needs to be punished. Again, Richard Dawkins is not the only one. I mean, and there's people that did a lot for the leftist movement, like J.K. Rowling. Richard Dawkins did a lot for leftist movement as well. You wouldn't be here without people like him. And for some reason, nope, evil people, that they have bad ideas. There's no more 2 sides of the same issue now, is there? Like, you can't have a conversation. No, there's like good people and bad people. Why do you think this is good? Like, how can you say you're against fascism now when literally everything is inside the ideology, nothing outside the ideology, nothing against the ideology? It is so utterly bizarre. And it's going to come a time when there's going to be something that you disagree with. Like, there will be that line that even you cannot go like, okay, maybe this is a little bit too far. And you won't be able to express it because you already normalized the idea that people who don't follow 100%, they get their awards revoked, they get banned from speeches, they get censored from social media and other things. This is why it's called cancel culture. It's a culture. Like in Romania, we wouldn't even think about it. In our country, we wouldn't even like dream about revoking someone's award because they said something dumb. Like, we wouldn't even consider it. Because we don't have this culture. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you in the comment sections. And yeah, I'm going to upload videos at this hour from now on. And I'm probably live streaming right after this. I'll put a link into the description to my live stream channel. Follow me there and we can talk a little bit more. Take care.